Now is the time. A time you'll look back on. A time you adopt as inspiration. You will recollect this time. This moment, right now. Motivate yourself towards success. Overcome. Take over. The time is now.
Hello. What happened to the party? We had planned a party. It's kind of
got to sing and everything.
Yeah. Oh no, you're still singing. Oh, lads. Yeah. What's this about? We're not used to losing or drawing matches. How are you, Pete? How are you?
I'll be honest. I'm deflated. I am. It's so weird me saying it because we just win every week. In your mind, look, you guys will be the same. In your mind, you're preparing for a defeat or a loss or a draw at some point. But when it actually happens, it just feels 20 times worse. And I just feel so deflated. I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like we've lost. Do you guys feel like that? Because I do. I feel like we lost.
It does feel like a loss. It does.
I'm just like, fuck. Like, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, no, definitely hear you, Pete. And I know you kind of felt the same, Chris, because in the chat during the day. But I know we're kind of saying like we're all expecting us to win. That's the real test. Can we win when we're all expect to win? And I was saying that Eddie Howe will have the players' mindset ready for this today. And look at they put in a decent performance. It's just 3-0 for Arsenal.
Yeah. So that's done.
All right. So we're not going to win the league, is what you're saying, Chris?
Oh no, we'll go to the Emirates and give them a game. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. No, actually, you know what? In some ways, it might be good. They might stop people talking about us winning the league. Never mind about winning the league. Yeah. Getting the top four is it should be our new mantra and working towards that. But Chris, how are you feeling?
Yeah, as I was saying to pre-show, and Pete's just kind of hit the nail on the head. I just feel a little bit despondent. But what I am going to do, certainly over the next 48 hours, is just try and keep myself off social media, because already I've seen some messages, saying, "Oh, he's crap, he's rubbish. Eddie Howe got it wrong. This," and it's just like I feel like sometimes we're all emotional. We all thought we'd win. We all thought that we probably should have won. Having watched the game, we absolutely dominated them. I'm just trying to take the positives from it and think, what, we've come up against that Leeds side, who aren't a bad side, by the way. When you look at the starting 11, pretty decent, but we've absolutely dominated them. Like it was only us in the race for the game. And don't get me wrong, I am disappointed. I am a bit pissed off over it, I'll be honest. But equally, another clean sheet. That's 12 matches unbeaten now, and we go into the Arsenal game. And let's be honest, if we go to the Emirates next week and we beat Arsenal, are we then going to look back at this game and go, do you know what, it's 4 points? 4 points. If someone would have offered you 4 points now, you'd think, yeah, we'd have beat Leeds and draw at the Emirates. But if we go and beat Arsenal, then it more than makes up for today's results. So that's the way I'm looking at it, I suppose.
Yeah, and I suppose, Chris, I just couldn't help notice that. Has your wife sewed your name onto your clothing? What's it say on your top there?
Eagle Eye does.
Christopher. Oh, she has.
Oh,
I was
God.
on
No,
Lisa.
Lisa didn't know. Lisa didn't so know. No, someone got it. Someone got it me as a present. In fact, it wasn't even this year. It was last year. Someone got me it as a present. So yeah, it's my dressing gown with my name on.
Gee,
In case anyone tries to rob it.
Yeah, nice one. And this, you have the costume on for the singer later underneath that dressing gown. I know what you're like. You're ready for action. But let's look at Marty. Party Marty. She was hoping to come on and join us as well. If he can figure out how to work a laptop, we'll give him a chance. But look at
I was just going to say, Daz, just before you go into the game, it's okay that we're pissed off or we're deflated or we're frustrated. I think one or two in the chat, I think Simon's mentioned, it's look at the positives, and we are going to look at the positives. There are plenty of positives out there, but it's okay to be deflated. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be, annoyed that we didn't get the win, because let's face it, on a positive, our performance deserved the win with the chances that we created. And look, we'll get into it, but it's okay to be deflated and to be frustrated. Everyone's allowed to have that feeling and emotion, but we can look at it in different ways.
Yeah, I think, and I just read one of a quote from Eddie Howe as well. It's like he's not going to lay into the players because they had so many chances. It'd be different if they weren't creating those chances. It's just on the day, even Man City draw 1-1 today. Even a club with the embarrassment of riches that they've had over the last number of years, and they have 2 or 3 squads and probably playing, some of them playing in different countries out on loan. So we're not at that stage yet. So and even if and when we are at that stage, you can still end up in a draw. So don't worry about it. Right, let's move on and we'll get into the game. This is the squad. For anyone that didn't see it earlier, unchanged from the last day. And sitting on the bench there is Wilson and ASM, who do make, and Murphy actually, who come and make an appearance later on in the game. And here is the Leeds squad. Any thoughts on either squad, lads, to start off with?
First of all, Joe got a number of players wrong on the away days. Who was going to start for Leeds? I think at one point, Chris was like, I think
that's pretty good.
On. But there's about 3 or 4 that were missing or switched around. But look, we talked about it on away days. Ganonto looked good. Aronson, he's a player anyway. Harrison, we know quite well because we've been linked with him. Adams, I wasn't aware, or neither was Chris, I don't think, that Adams was suspended for the Man City game, so he was coming back into the team anyway, and he looked very, very good. But other than that, it was, I think, what was to be expected. From a Newcastle point of view, I'll just throw my 2 pence in. We've mentioned towards the game, and there was rumours that would potentially start anyway, even with Wilson in the team. And there was almost, for me, an expectancy that would be the case, because Eddie Howe's always done it. He's always done it. If you've had a good game or you've played well, you generally do keep your spot in the team. So it was always going to be the case. I'm sure we'll get on to Chris Wood as we get into the show. But that was the only thing for me. I fully expected it to be the same team other than that.
No, fair enough. Anything you want to say, Chris, that you haven't said already on the teams?
No. I mean, the team was pretty much as I expected. And I was really pleased when I saw Maxi and Wilson on the bench, and I did think they play some part if we needed them. And it turns out we did need them. But no. I mean, I was more than happy with the lineup. I think I said last night, didn't I, Pete? I was having a few worries that perhaps Eddie was going to rest a few players today with the Arsenal game in mind. But it looks like he's put his strongest 11 out, and full credit to him for doing that. And by the looks of things, again, another positive. I'm going to be shoving positives down people's throats tonight. I think we've come through the game unscathed in terms of injuries as well. So, yeah, another good thing.
No, and if people are still looking for positives, wait to see this later on. We're still up there, so that's a definite positive. So let's get into the game. Rightio. First half, 5 minutes, chance for Wood, and as always, jump in with each of these points along the way. Chance for Wood. He took a pass to the keeper. It was on the wing. He was kind of off balance, and he tried to either square it across or take a shot, and he did neither, and he kind of came off the outside of his foot. Thoughts on that one? Anyone want to comment on that one?
Go on, Chris, you go for it.
I'll be honest, just repeat it again for me, Daz. I'm just trying to remember the chance. I know you said it was early on.
Yeah, it was after the first 5 minutes. And I know we're all on streams, and if there's streams around like mine, stopping and starting, you miss half the game sometimes. But he would. He takes it past the keeper. He's kind of on the wing. He's off balance, and he tries to either take a shot or square it across. But if he was able to square it across, I think someone could have been in the box there that he would have put it in the back of the net. Or if he had it connected, he would have at least made it towards goal. But it just didn't trickle out wide.
Well,
not ringing the bell.
I'm laughing because I didn't see that, and weirdly enough, that kind of makes sense now based on what some people were saying about Chris Woods. Because the only noticeable chance I can remember from Chris Woods was when he was through on goal and the keeper come out pretty quick and like blocked him, and then everyone was going, "Oh, he couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo." And I'm thinking that's quite harsh to say that if that's the opportunity, but that does sound like a good opportunity. But no, I'll be honest, maybe stream.
There's a few of them. There's a few of them, Chris. So we'll get one that you've seen. Don't worry.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I might remember one, but yeah, I don't.
I'll fly through the rest of them, as I said, jump in. Okay, 8 minutes. Willock took a touch, and it ended up with a shot for Joe Linton. 10 minutes, there was a Leeds scramble, and then our box, the ball bouncing, the Leeds got a corner. 19 minutes, this has happened numerous times. Trippier corner, Shar header. He was alone. He was actually unmarked at that stage. He was just wide of the post. 24th minute, Trippier corner again. J7 knocked the ball down. Dan Burns swiped the leg, and for once his leg wasn't long enough to connect with it. And he just kind of missed it. So pity for that one. We'd all love Dan Burns to get a goal. 26 minutes again, Trippier free kick. Botman stretched for it, kind of unlucky. The keeper saves it. It kind of was a tame enough shot, couldn't come off because he was stretching. 39 minutes, the penalty claim. Bashar made a busting run, and he goes down in the box. Did it actually go to VAR? I'm not so sure, but it was waved away anyway. Nothing came of that. Anyone think that was a penalty?
Stonewall.
When I first seen it, I didn't think it was. It was weird. I was like, nah, get up. And then when I watched it back, I was like, hang on, that is a penalty. It was a penalty. And then the fact that, like, I think it was a goal kick, wasn't it? And I thought, they're going to VAR it now, because sometimes you've got to wait for the ball to go out of play. And I thought, great opportunity now for us to kind of get that looked at. And then they just carried on. And I was thinking, well, why have they not looked at that?
Yeah, and then the other talking point is like a few minutes after that, Trippier gets a yellow card where what's his name? Nacho, the Leeds lad, the young striker, kind of ran across him as Trippier pointed out. No, it wasn't Rodrigo at that stage. I don't think it was Rodrigo at that stage. I think it was the young. Maybe it was. But Trippier got a yellow card for a professional foul at that stage. But
Ganato. It'll be Ganato.
Ganato. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And towards the end of the half, the Trippier free kick as well. Actually, that went straight into the wall, which was a pity. I think everyone thought that there was something might have happened from that one. So that got us.
Could we just confirm? Because obviously Craig Leeds just put on the comments here. Trips is out through suspension for Arsenal. It was mooted that was the case, but I think most have now realised that I think he was on 3 yellow cards going into today, so he was on 4 yellow cards. So he is 1 away from suspension, but he's not suspended for the Arsenal game. It was only Fabian Schär, if I'm right in thinking, that has 4 yellow cards.
He's on 4. Yeah, I think so.
Now have 4, so both will need to be careful because I don't know for sure, but I think it's at the halfway point in which it gets scrapped and then goes to 10. But I could be wrong.
Right up, and I forgot to mention Bruno's at the start of the game, so I'll mention that at the end because that's a good talking point as well. Okay, into the second half, 46 minutes, Trippier corner, shot over the bar. 47 minutes, Joe Linton welcomes the sub, Marco Rocca, onto the pitch with a nice little welcome punch. But then we're on to 52 minutes. Trippier in Burn knocked the ball down, and Wood. Yeah, well, this is the chance you were talking about, Chris. Wood miss. I think it was right in front. He's straight at the keeper, who had a decent game. And sounds like they're not going to sell him, from according to Joe last night for my question. But there's 56 minutes. A good save from Pope from Rodrigo. 57 minutes. Mickey ball in, Chris Wood. And I've wrote down again, too slow, Chris Wood. 61 minutes, Trippier corner, shower header, save by Milner again. 62 minutes, J7, a bit of trickery. Sean Longstaff shot over the bar. He could have potentially squared the ball as well and would have been 1 up. 64 minutes then, Wilson on for Wood, ASM on for Willock. 77 minutes, SM ball across in the box. I think that's my stream, a bit crazy. But yeah, the determination and the relentlessness was there from Newcastle. They were all over them. First half and second half was just the ball did not go in the net. 83 minutes, J7 ball over the bar. 83 minutes again. Murphy came on for Miggy. 92 minutes, chance for Newcastle, but didn't go anywhere. Bit of handbags at the end. Ref, I don't know, I didn't have the greatest of games either. But full time, 0-0. We haven't been we haven't lost the game. It might feel like we have, but a draw we'll take it. Where it means we still are in the table, and totally different position to where we were this time last year. Just keep that in mind. Again, another positive. But thoughts on the game overall, lads? Pete?
Yeah, my feelings are exactly the same. Frustrating game, it was. That's partly because of how Leeds set themselves up. Leeds set themselves up to be hard to break down and try and hit us on the counter, which they tried to do a number of times. I personally didn't feel under any pressure that they were going to score or win the game. It was about purely what we could do, and we just didn't break them down. Have we seen it before? We have. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, 2 of the home games where we haven't been able to break teams down. You could argue that Palace is different because we had a goal chalked off that was a perfectly good goal. But again, it shows, in certain games, we haven't quite figured out yet how to beat certain teams. If Leeds had have done what many other teams have done, for example, Everton, they came out and tried to attack us. We hit them on the break and ended up winning the game comfortably. Aston Villa came to St. James's Park and came for us. We hit them on the break and we do them over quite comfortably. When we've got a team that just sit in and are incredibly difficult. Bournemouth have done it twice now at St. James's Park this season, and we found it very difficult to break them down. We need something different to win those games, and that's the frustrating thing about it. Did we create lots of chances? We did, but we just need to be better in those positions. But I cannot fault the effort. I cannot fault the work rate. I cannot fault, the creativity up until the 18-yard box to get us in those positions. I cannot fault it. For that, they are the positives, without a doubt. And it shows that we are going in the right direction. But, Eddie Howe said it in his press conference. I'll end on this. Eddie Howe said it in his press conference that teams are going to start figuring out a formula of how they come to St. James's Park and make it difficult for us. We as a team have got to find a formula to be able to counteract that. That's going to be what we're going to. That if we can find a solution to that, that's what's going to take us to being a regular top 6 team, because we're going to be able to break down those teams that do that. Because next season, every team that comes to St. James's Park is going to start doing what Leeds did today, what Bournemouth have done twice, what Palace have done. Every team next season, they're going to start doing that. So it then falls slightly into the transfer market, January in the summer, is we need to find additional players that are going to come in that can maybe come off the bench or start, that can counteract that we can still win those games, being dominant, being intense, doing all the great things we did today, but having the quality to put those teams to the sword. So that's just my overall feeling of the game.
Yeah, no, definitely take that beat, and like ASM did to a degree, because he came on there, he did a bit of trickery, and he didn't just try and go solo. He passed, he made a great pass every time, and like he could have gone for glory like he used to do in the past, but he did put a great pass in, and each time he did make a bit of a bursting run. So, but Chris, your thoughts on the overall game?
Yeah, similar to Pete. I mean, we're all disappointed. I'm absolutely gutted. Oh, it's 3-1 Brighton, by the way. Brighton have just scored.
Brighton.
With Romo. Yeah.
Defensive
Yeah.
record still intact, boys.
Yeah.
I drink to that.
Goal difference.
Oh no, it is onside. I think it'll be onside. Great finish. Yeah, today's result was disappointing, but again, you know, looking back at it, how many times were we left disappointed by poor performances? We were dominated, we got battered. I forget which year it was. It wasn't last year, it must have been the year before. You know, we played like the likes of Brighton, and we were getting beat like 3-0 both times, and we were getting absolutely battered. Today, that was anything from, you know, that was far from that. We didn't put the ball in the back of the net, but we had a couple of good chances. Sean Longstaff really should have scored at least one. Chris Woods, by the sounds of it, does in the first 5 minutes. You know, could have done better with that opportunity.
Yeah, he could have, but you know, it was one chance. Right, it was early in the game. There was plenty more times to redeem himself after that.
Yeah, and even the Dan Burn chance as well. You know, when he did the air shot when it flew across the in the, you know, when the corner come in. It was just one of those games, and you know, as I say, I am disappointed, but it's another clean sheet, it's another point on the board, and you know, we're not going to win every game, and thankfully, it's just not a defeat. I don't know. I'm going to try and put it to the back of my mind, because, like I say, you know, it is frustrating and it is disappointing. But you know, let's look forward now to Arsenal and just, you know, concentrate on that. And like I say, we've had no major injuries, which is great. So look at the positive for me.
Again, another positive.
Got to stay positive.
It does sound like we've lost the game. We're really down, you know. And that, look, from where we were last year, if you were to take a show from last year and watch it, like it's ridiculous how much better we are in every sense of the word, in every little part of this Newcastle project. So be happy. How about me? Yeah, no, just again, I'm pissed off with the draw, but I'm not too pissed off. I'm a bit pissed off that Leeds came and pissed on our party that we were going to have tonight. But also, I have to say, well done, Leeds. You know, they thought they were going to get walloped today. They didn't. They got their point. They need the points as well, because it can't be just Forest, West Ham, and Southampton to get relegated. So they need the points to stay up. We live to fight another day. We'll go at Arsenal, and why not? Give them a good game and see where we get. We're away from home. We have nothing to lose. Go for it. That's it for the just review of the actual match part of it. Just want to say before we go to our ratings, that Bruno, great tribute towards Pele from Bruno, wearing his Pele jersey, and he is our own Pele, and yeah, it was a lovely touch from Bruno. Shows the class of him, and I'm sure Joe Linton as well was doing his own little thing to tribute towards Pele as well. Well, okay, let's get into the ratings. And play along at home as usual. Actually, before I do, make sure you might have seen me in the chat the last two shows. Hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. But also, if you're new to the channel or you're just passing by or just catching on the playback, hit that subscribe button, because we are there. It is. We are about 76 or something away from 5K. At this stage, so every day helps towards getting us towards that 5K mark.
And I think there's a few newbies in the chat tonight, so some new to the channel. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe. Let's see if we can get that. You know, let's see if we can get it down to 50 by the end of this show. Let's see if we can work that or dwindle that down. It'd be nice to get it to 5K by midnight, but look, let's see if we can dwindle that down. Come and join the Loaded family. Click that subscribe button.
Right, let's get into the ratings. First up, Popey. One was a great little sliding tackle he came out with there, and I think it was in the second half there as well. Great little bit of skill from Popey. I'm giving him a 7.75.
He's back again. The 7.75s are in town. 8.5 for me. Again, didn't really have a lot to do. I think he swept a couple of times. He made where I watched it, the commentators made out it was like an amazing save and that it was close to being a goal from Rodrigo in the second half. Not like a routine save for me. He didn't really have anything to do that was putting him under any major pressure. The things that he did do was very good. So 8.5 for me. Another good performance.
Chris?
I'd go 8. I mean, it's quite hard. I don't want to down mark him because he didn't have anything to do, because that's not his fault. But for me, there wasn't anything very, noticeable that he had to do during the game, bar that save that you mentioned. Oh, it's 4-1. Martinelli. But yeah, I can't fault Nick Pope's performance. He, as I say, didn't have much to do, but anything that he did do, I liked his distribution, by the way. I thought he did some really good throws out to put us on the counter. I thought his distribution was really good today. But yeah, I'll give him an 8.
8. Okay, no, fair enough. On to Trippier. Of course, he was involved in every corner and the free kick and the cross into the box. That's what he does. He got that yellow card just before the second half as well. I'm giving Trippier a 7.5. 8.
It's a funny one, this, isn't it? I think this is a funny one.
I don't think Trippier played well today.
No, I don't.
Personally. So I'm gonna go with Daz. I'm gonna go with 7.5. I thought his deliveries were really poor. He was caught out of position a couple of times. Not his best game. Look, we didn't concede, so from a defensive point of view, he's done his job. But I just thought it wasn't great. And you know what? We lost our heads towards the end of the game, and I really, really wanted Trippier to just rein it in. We needed it. You could see Howe was frustrated on the sidelines because he was kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Linton pushing and shoving. You had Bruno pushing and shoving. You had Murphy getting frustrated. And what you needed Trippier to just pull that in. Normally he has that pull. He shouldn't be the only one. Yeah, I'll put that out there. But I just needed him. I just felt personally I needed him to rein that in because we needed to not wind the game down. It was almost like Leeds did to us what we normally do to other teams, and they wound us up towards the end to run down the clock, and they succeeded. But look, I'm purely on performance. It wasn't his best game, so I'll go with that 7.5.
That was on the 91st minute when that was happening. But yeah, and
before that, the Joe Linton one was before that. I think in the second half.
The second half, okay, yeah.
I think so. There was one way. I think there was a check for a push in the face.
It was against that Rocker, wasn't it? The lad Rocker who come on, and Joe Linton pushed him. That was really early in the second half. Really.
Yeah, that's when my stream went crazy for a while. Yeah, so I just caught that replay of that bit. Okay, radio. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Chris, your thoughts on Trippier?
Yeah, it's 7 for me. I thought Trippier, like Pete says, he's done his job, clean sheet. And I think defensively, I've seen him better defensively, but equally, I wasn't too concerned kind of thing. But some of his deliveries today were just not of his usual high standard, put it that way. And it was funny, the commentator said, the amount of times I've had to go, Trippier delivering the ball. He had so many opportunities, whether it be corners, set pieces, free kicks, you name it. And I don't, there was loads of missed opportunities. So I felt a little bit frustrated with Trippier tonight. But again, like, defensively, he did his job, kept a clean sheet, and at least not everyone's going to have a great game all the time. So as I say, a seven's probably fair. I think I wouldn't go overboard on him.
Yeah, no, cool. Rightio. And I know we all have our own marking style here. I know, like, Pete is usually on the higher side, and especially if you win, he goes 9+ to everyone. But it is different. And everyone's opinion is valid, and including yours in the chat as well. So it is it's objective. Then Shar. For me, I'm saying Shar 7.75. I love the way he did his usual. The start of the game, he was down. He did get hit in the head at that time, but it's going down. If anyone from the Toon Review is watching, ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But no, and then he did a few runs into the box as well, and he nearly got that penalty first. Of course. So yeah, 7.75 for Shar. Pete.
I'm gonna go an 8. I thought defensively he was sound.
Yeah.
As always, been very, very good this season. Very good. Continued in the same vein. The reason why it's probably not any higher is that he squandered a few good chances for us in the game. People will talk about other players as we go along, but I think he missed 2 or 3 good chances.
Two for sure.
2 in the first half, I believe. Or what? No, 1 in the first. No, it might have even been 2 in the first half. But certainly a couple in the second half he had. It was one just after half time where he kind of cuts back in on his right and then just puts it wide. It's he had a few really good opportunities to score today. So yeah, I'll go a steady 8. Got that clean sheet, defended really well, but possibly could have won the game for us.
Yeah, exactly the same 8. Defensively, I thought he was sound. A couple of opportunities where he could have done a bit better, but I thought he splayed the ball around really well today, and the way he carried the ball out as well. He went on a few mazy runs, but I love that about Fabian Schär. So I'd feel disappointed to give him any less than an 8 because I've marked Trippier a 7. So yeah, I'd say Schär's an 8.
No, that's cool. No, that's fair enough. And that's kind of the runs that he done, and at least he took the chances, or he had the chances, the header and the shot and stuff like that. But that's why I kind of put for Botman, I put him down to 7.5. I know when Schär does go forward, Botman stays back and Byrne covers as well. But I'm giving Botman 7.5.
Oh,
yep.
4-2. Brighton have scored another one. Yeah, 4-2.
What's the time in that game?
76.
Still time, lads. Yeah. Still time. Come on.
The party be back on.
Yeah. I'm not watching it. I saw it half time. I was like, get lost. I ain't watching this.
Pete froze.
Have we lost Pete? We've lost Pete.
Well, we'll go straight to you, Chris, with your thoughts on Botman. So we'll wait for Pete.
I kind of want to give him the same as Schär, but then no, I will. I'll give him the same as Schär. Oh, you're back, Pete. You're back. Sorry, mate. We lost you.
I told you about my internet. It's all over the shop tonight. I'll give Botman the same.
Yeah.
Same. Okay, go.
Those two are just class, aren't they?
Yeah,
let's be honest.
They are.
Even though we're frustrated about the result, like defensively, have we ever had a centre back pairing that's been as good and as dominant as those two?
No.
And I can't think of them.
If Schär was the same age as Botman, we wouldn't be talking about a replacement for Schär.
No.
We'd be just delighted to keep the two of them there. Yeah. But we will have to look at options come the summer or whenever we're soon enough to look at that. But so, Chris, you said the same for Botman, 8 as well, isn't it?
8, mate. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, we move on. Let's go to Big Dan Byrne. Big Dan Byrne waiting for his first goal for us. Nearly got it today. Mine giving him a 7.
Yeah. You know what? There's been a few comments about Danberg. We'll come back to them later, and there's some that are really valid. In fact, let me just, because I think I don't know if I can find it. I can't find it. I give up. But yeah, Dan Burn defensively was good, no problem at all. But I just think there's, again, and I think it might have been Yano that mentioned it in the comment. I'll try and find it. I thought I did star it, but we could have exploited them down that side a little bit more from an attacking point of view. And I think Yana made a really good point there, is that Dan Burns just not that attacking wing back. And I think it really hampered us today. Defensively, we're solid, and we've just talked about how good defensively we were, that we're never going to lose the game, but maybe Dan Burn wasn't the right choice if we're going to go and really propel ourselves and win the game. So again, maybe a 7.5 I'll give him. I don't think he was as good as Shaw and Botman, but he was still good in the game. 7.5.
Yeah, I'd have gone 7.5 purely because, like you've just said, not as good as Botman and Shaw, but better than Trippier, who I give a 7. So yeah, 7.5 is about right.
This was the Yano comment here. What was apparent today, mentioned by no one. Burnley's not a left back. He had all sorts of room and provided nothing. We have 5 players for left back, and none of them are good enough.
Fair comment.
Up for discussion. Matty Target hasn't been good this season, but I would say last season he was definitely good enough to be a starter in the team. But no, I think there's one or two others that mentioned about Dan Burn. I'm sure we'll get to them. But interesting point and one to discuss.
Just on Matt Target, he wasn't even in the squad today. So he's not was on the bench either. So just note that as well. Neither was Fraser.
Which is interesting because I was looking then, Daz, as you said it, at the bench, thinking, oh, has he been left out because of a stronger squad, or has he been left out because he's injured, or is he left out because he's leaving? And if you've got Matt Ritchie on the bench there, that tells you everything you need to know.
Jamal Lewis is on the bench ahead of him. And I, for one, have been talking about Jamal Lewis being out on loan.
Yeah.
Is he performing better in training than Matt Target? Is he put himself ahead of Matt Target in the pecking order? Who knows? But yeah, it's a great spot that, because I didn't see that.
It is a talking point, and we don't want to cause a conspiracy, but yeah, it does look like there's something up there with my target. Well,
the one thing I'll add just before we move on about Matt Target is that Matt Target was very, very clear when he came to Newcastle that he came to Newcastle because he was going to be guaranteed football.
First choice.
Yeah. That's why he came to Newcastle. And this season's performances almost felt like someone that felt, okay, I'm first choice, regardless, I'm going to be in every week. And it's been proven the opposite, in that he had some poor performances early on in the season. He's been taken out the team, and Dan Burn has quite rightly kept his place, because he has been brilliant in some games. But it might well open it up now because we need that more attacking intent in some games. I don't know, but that might be a reason. He is one of those players that just wants to play regularly for a team. Probably why he's not played for a top team until he come to us. We're the biggest team, in my opinion, that he's come and played for, because all the other teams like Southampton and some of the other teams he's been on loan to here and there have been lower teams because he's been guaranteed football. I think he played at Fulham for a little bit as well. But yeah, that might be the reason.
No, interesting. Let's move to the midfield. First up is Bruno in the middle, Pelly in the middle for us today. Not his best game, but some great through balls again, as usual. Trying to find Miggy at every opportunity as well. I'm going to give him, though, and one of the lowest ratings, not the lowest ratings I give Bruno, but one of them is 7.5 for Bruno for me. Pete?
I'm going to give Bruno an 8. I thought he controlled the midfield really well. Despite his not winning, I thought he controlled the midfield really well. I thought he had a solid game, a good solid game. Created a lot around that 18-yard box. Wasn't as effective in the box, but did a lot to push us up the pitch and drive us forward. And I like that about him because he just gives us something a little bit different. But what I found, and I don't know whether you guys noticed this, is that in the second half, Longstaff played further forward. It's like they almost switched positions. And I think it was because Eddie Howe wanted Bruno to get on the ball and dictate the play, a little bit like he did against Leicester. And he couldn't from that number 8 position. And that maybe is credit to Leeds on how they pressed him and how they worked and closed the space off. But that affected us when he dropped down into that position because he, Target's injured, fair enough. Because he wasn't in the forward positions that we'd have liked in the second half as much as we would have wanted. But yeah, I noticed that change, and look, we'll get into Longstaff in a second. But I think that was a key moment when that happened.
Yeah, no, and it's you mentioned space because that's what I just got a 50-second clip of Bruno talking after the game, and he does mention space that Leeds did well at not giving much space. But Chris, your thoughts on Bruno?
I'm leaving that message on while I talk about Bruno, because I love that, and I agree with Martin wholeheartedly. Do you know what? When Murphy came on, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I can't wait. And this is nothing against Jacob Murphy, by the way. I think he's he comes across a lovely lad, and whatever. But the day when we start bringing on a different player, like, I'll just be overjoyed, because sadly for Jacob Murphy, it just doesn't really happen for him, does it? I just don't think he's got that, that. I don't even think he's the kind of player that can influence games. But anyway, I'll stop there. Bruno, I don't know. I just love Bruno. I just think he's great. He epitomises, as we were talking about the other day, just epitomises everything about this current new Newcastle. I just think he's great. And yeah, when I saw the Brazil stuff, I just got this warm, fuzzy feeling inside. I just thought, yeah, that's Bruno. That I thought he had a really good game, actually. Not his best, but just the fact he's so tenacious and he's everywhere and he wants the ball, and then even that little bit of fighting at the end, as we spoke about earlier, it did kind of boil over a little bit. But I loved the way he got up and squared up to that fella, and as if to say, you could tell how passionate he was, and that he was fighting for the team and he wanted to win, and that it's that kind of attitude that we need going forward. But obviously, with it being tailored to make sure it doesn't spill over. But yeah, I thought Bruno was great today, so I'd probably give him an 8. It was funny, Daz, when you started off, I was thinking, when you said he's going to be one of the lowest scores, I was thinking, fucking hell, what's he going to give him? And then when you said 7.5, I thought, oh no, fair enough. Yeah.
Couple in the chat, guys. PDK's put very emotional today, Bruno.
Yeah,
he was emotional.
Mentioned there, I think Bruno was emotional because of the Pele passing. Do you think that may, although we've all said he still had a decent game, he's still solid in that midfield.
Yeah.
I think that's what's made the difference. With when something like that happens, it's almost like, I'm not saying this happened, but it's almost like sometimes you try too hard to put on a real good performance. He could maybe have tried too hard to play the way that he wanted to, and it maybe didn't work out. I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and I was thinking that as well during the World Cup. I was thinking during the World Cup that I think Brazil want to win the World Cup for Pele as well, because we knew he was on those only in days. Imagine if he was allowed to play in the Brazil top. That would have been interesting, but never going to happen. But yeah, let's move on. Let's go to Sean Longstaff. Right, Sean Longstaff. Yeah, I wish he did when he took that shot. I wish he passed it. I think we would have won 1-0. And there was a few occasions like that. Not his greatest game for us. We have Pete in the past. We've said that potential for him to get a look in for the England, even just to get a cap, didn't look like he would get anywhere near that today. So I'm giving him a 6.75 today.
He was really poor today. And I'm putting that as nicely as I possibly can, because he has put some good performances in for us, and hopefully that was just an off day. But if there's ever, look, and the three of us have talked about it on the Full Loaded Transfer shows that we've been on. If there's ever a need to improve the midfield, there's your reason why today. So when we're linked with Tielemans, when we're linked with James Maddison, and people say, Why do we need James?
4-3.
You're on
You're on
mute.
mute.
On mute.
Sorry. It's just gone 4-3 and it zoomed in on Arteta. Is that Mitoma again? Wow, what a finish. But the reason I was saying, Pete, was it zooms in on Arteta and Arteta's looking at the away fans and he's going, calm down, calm down. And you can tell Arsenal have battled here. 4-3 and there's one more minute of proper time to be played and then obviously we'll have injury time as well. So I'll keep you updated. But yeah, Mitoma's just got a brace.
Hey, my
Jump in
sky's
if there's
going
a
on
score.
right now. The sky's going on.
Get it on, mate. Get it on.
Looking into this bad boy. But
Oh, hang on. Are we Varden? We're Varden. Surely not. Oh, no. Oh, he's offside. He's offside.
Sky's going off. I ain't interested.
He's offside.
Chris, she's getting her hopes up like that on New Year's Eve. Not to worry.
Going back to the point, we've all said when the likes of Tillemans, when the likes of, Madison's and the players or a number of other players, you Kefram Turams and players like that are linked to people going, why do we need another midfielder? Certainly those attacking midfielders, a Tillemans and a Madison, and a few have put it on social media. One or two have put it in the chat today. With a Tillemans and a Madison today, we win that game because the positions that Sean Longstaff puts himself in, Tillemans puts that in the net. Madison puts that in the net. And that's why we need to improve this team. That is why we need to continue to evolve. That we can't sit on our laurels. We did it in the summer. We had fans saying, we don't need another centre-back. We've got Dan Burn. Sven Botman's an improvement on Dan Burn, very clearly. And we need to keep improving and we need to keep making those additions. Sean Longstaff proved that today. He had 5 or 6 chances to score. And I'm talking good chances to score, and he missed them. There was one in the second half where he's pulled it in and he's hit it with his left, and I'm sorry. That has to be a goal. Meslier is already gone to ground. He's basically gifted him the left, his right-hand side of the goal. He's gifted him the whole of that goal because he's already gone to ground, and he manages to miss it. And you know what? I have to put them on there because one or two... I've mentioned it about Sean Longstaff, and I have to get these out there because it's really, I think they make some really, really good points. Oh, crap, where are they? Mag's Debate says, Longstaff cost us 3 points. You have to get it on target. He is not good enough. Whether people agree with that or not is another thing.
Good squad player.
Yeah, good squad player. Good to come in and do a job. In midfield, Longstaff, they're trying their best. I respect them, but if we are targeting to win the league one day, we cannot with them. They are good, but not good enough to win the league. I think there's still levels there for the likes of Willock. That's for sure. But again, another point. There was one really good point about Longstaff, and I don't think I've saved it. Oh, damn it! It was a really, really good point. I'll see if I can try and find it.
While you're looking for that, Pete, we do need strength and depth as we go into next season, and we go into because we're going to be in European competition in some shape or fashion. So we're going to need strength and depth. And as I think someone pointed out as well, we have only 3 midfielders because Joe Linton is playing more in the front 3 at the moment, and so with injuries.
Hold on, just pop that starting lineup again.
Yeah,
if you can.
You
Where's the centre midfielder in there? I mean, you could say probably Elliot Anderson is maybe that centre midfielder, but you're absolutely right in what you just said. There is no centre midfield option to bring on.
No, there's not. There's not.
And we're not bringing Jeff Hendrick back.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, so again, another really, really good point.
Without Shelvey, we're basically looking at Matty Longstaff and Jeff Hendrick. That's where we are. Oh, and Isaac Hayden if we brought him back on loan. That is our bunch of central midfielders. That's it.
It's looking like he's coming back because he's
back.
not even getting a game at Norwich. He's coming off. He came the last game yesterday. He came on for them, and bearing in mind they only drew 1-1, he came on in the 90th minute as a sub.
Bruce will give him a game.
To God, they don't get Bruce.
I hope they don't either for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give Longstaff a 6. By the way, I didn't actually give him a score.
6.
Give him a 6.
Yeah. I'm the same 6. After all of those chances for him to not come away with a goal, it's scandalous. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think his overall game was that bad, but those key moments, and people in the chat have said it, the key moments, and he's got to do better. And unfortunately, boys, with success and with the way that we're performing, we demand better, and that's the problem. Sean Longstaff, is he a top 6 player? If we were getting rid of Sean Longstaff tomorrow, would any of the top 6 go in for him?
Look,
He wouldn't.
I think it's a bit harsh because we were now in fairness, we were saying that he could he the way he was playing there a couple of weeks ago that he could potentially get an England cap. We didn't say that he would be a mainstay in an England squad. So we can't go from potential England cap to get rid of him, or he wouldn't even.
No, I
anyway,
don't think we get rid of him.
We're
not.
a good squad player. A good squad player.
Good squad player. I agree. I agree.
Good at times for us as well.
You need a team, don't you? And let's be honest, we can't have 7 £50 million centre midfielders. We can't. And Sean Longstaff will do a job. Sean Longstaff's probably a steady 6 out of 7 most games. He'll perform to 8 and 9, and he's shown that this season. Yeah, he will. He'll perform to 8 or 9. He will, but it's hard to find excuses for him today because, like I say, at this standard, at this level, he's got to be doing better with those chances. At least one of them.
I'll throw out what Sean Longstaff is good for. Sean Longstaff is the perfect player to have when you're playing away from home. When you need that work rate, when you need that runner, when you need that battler that's going to break up play and make things difficult for the home team. When you're a player that's playing at home with a team that is sitting back and you need to break them down, Sean Longstaff's not that player. Bruno Gomes is. Joe Linton can be. But we need another one in there that can be that match winner, that creative spark in that midfield. A Tillemans can do that. A Tillemans might not have the energy and the work rate at this moment in time to do what Longstaff does and cover the ground and battle and do all the rest of it. But what Tillemans can do, he can win you a match in a moment. He can pull that little bit of creativity out, and Maddison can. Even if you look at a Kefram Turam, you look at a Kone, you look at a defensive midfielder, a number 6, what that does, that puts someone in there that allows Bruno to play further forward and be that spark. But those are 2 players, the Tillemans or a Maddison, one or the other, would make the difference. And there are other creative midfielders out there, but they're the ones we're dealing with. And I ask myself, are they better than Sean Longstaff? They are. They both are. It's obvious.
And I suppose, depending on the game as well, like how we'll see, okay, against the opposition, maybe Longstaff would be more suited to playing in that position, or if not, another player that we have yet to bring in could sit in there and play the role. But we don't have those options at the moment. We just have the 3, unless you bring in Joe Linton back into midfield, and then you have putting Murphy into it, or then you're maybe putting ASN starting again. But look at. We'll see how we go. Chris, you give 6.
I give him a 6. Yeah. I don't think he was horrendous, but it's the chances for me. It's the chances. And I think Pete's spot on when he says, about how really, he's perfect for an away game. He's perfect for cup games against lower league opposition. He's perfect because he's a good standard of player. But we're not gonna play, I don't know, Palace at home and him have a great game, because I don't think he's got that technical. He hasn't got that moment of magic in him. I don't believe anyway.
Right, let's move on. Let's go to Willock. For me, Willock, he got some good chances. He made some good breaks. He does look like he's just a second away from falling over at times as well. When he seems to be on his last leg when he comes to a run. But I thought he had a great first half. I was surprised they took him off. Maybe it was fatigue or something. But I'm going to give him 7.75 for Willock. Chris, and I'll go to you next.
Ooh, this is a good one, Daz. I don't think he was as good as Bruno. So do you know what? I'll give Willock a 7.5. But what I will say is, I thought it was the wrong decision taking Willock off instead of Longstaff. I thought he should have took that. I thought Eddie Howe should have took Longstaff off and kept Willock on, because I thought Willock was doing all right. So I'm giving him a 7.5, but it's just slightly lower than Bruno. But I thought Willock was all right. I thought he looked more threatening than what Sean Longstaff did, in my opinion. And then obviously by bringing Maxi on for Longstaff, that brought Bruno, that brought Joe Linton back into the middle. Maxi went out to the wing, and I think Willock and Joe Linton in the middle might have given Leeds a bit more to think about.
No, good call. So 7.5 for yourself for Willock. Pete.
Yeah, it's the same 7.5 for me with Willock. Willock was very good in the first half, traveling with the ball, pushing us forward, committing players. He was trying to link on that left hand side with Joe Linton and Bruno and Wood, and he looked really threatening. I know why they took him off, in my opinion, is that if they'd have took Longstaff off, although we would have wanted him off, it would have disrupted the balance of the team. I keep talking about that fluidity of Bruno and Longstaff sitting in number 8 to number 6, number 8 to number 6. They just transition throughout the game seamlessly, and they have that understanding. If you take Sean Longstaff off, Willock can't do the same. He can't do the same. So you are then having Bruno being committed to being that number 6 and not being able to push forward. You would have seen in the Leicester game, at one point, Bruno would be the 6th, and then he would be the furthest midfield forward because he'd go and press, but he would know that Longstaff would go and sit in. There's that balance there to the team. And I think that's why they took that. I think that's why they always take Willock off, is because although Longstaff might not be playing as well as him, he adds a little bit of balance to the structure in which the team sits. And that's why. I think if we were winning 2 or 3-0, I think it may be different. They take Longstaff off and they bring somebody else on. And Willock stays on the pitch. So that's my reasons why. But I thought Willock did slow down in the second half. He wasn't as effective in his game before he got taken off, and maybe that was the reason, is that he looked maybe a little bit tired. Maybe they're just saving him. He's going to be a guy that we're going to need at the Emirates with his legs and his ability to run and commit players, Arsenal players, and of course he's going back to the Emirates, so he's going to be bang up for that game. So maybe that's a reason why. I'm not sure, but certainly from a balance point of view, I understood why they took him off. Although, I think it's obvious that everyone wanted Longstaff off and someone else on to keep Willock on the pitch. But Willock 7.5.
Daz, can I just ask you a quick question? William Headley has asked, what is the tune on our intro?
Yeah, sure. It's Time Is Now by The Raz. I know a few people asked me in the past, so they put it in the comments in YouTube, and I always reply back with the link to the song. But if you put it into YouTube after the show, of course, The Time Is Now by The Raz, you'll find it. Or you could Shazam it as well while the music is playing. That'll find it for you as well. Sean, Happy New Year as well. We'll probably see Sean sometime in January, hopefully as well. But yeah, let's go then to our attackers, and let's go to Miggy. Miggy, of course, he's on an amazing run at the moment, and he's always a constant threat. Taken off later in the game. Who came on instead of Ocean Murphy? Yeah, you mentioned already, Chris. But yeah, I'm giving Miggy 7.5 today. Pete,
I thought Miggy was brilliant.
Okay.
I thought he was so good today. And the only thing missing for him was a goal. I think he's put that, but I don't see in Miggy's performance anything too dissimilar to what he did at Leicester. But obviously he got the goal that won the game, or effectively helped us win the game comfortably. And I was genuinely shocked when he came off. And Chris, you've touched on it about Murphy, when Murphy came on the pitch. when Miggy went off, it's almost like, in my mind, I conceded that we were going to get a point. Because if we're still chasing the game, you need Miggy on the pitch. You need him on the pitch. He's our top goal scorer. You need him playing. And if he had a niggle or he had an injury, it didn't look like it to me. But if he did, fair enough. But he looked like he was committing defense. The amount of times he commit their left back like in the game was crazy. He was so good. So yeah, really, really frustrated with that. I thought he was good. I'd give him an 8.5. I thought he was really good today. Really good.
Yeah, I scored Miggy the same as Bruno, so I give him an 8. I thought Miggy has a good game. Big shout out, by the way, to Struck. We were talking about him on last night's away day show, weren't we, Pete? And
he was good.
Struck is a natural centre back, and he played left back. And I thought he had a great game against Miggy today, because every time Miggy was looking to cut inside, I thought he handles him pretty well. But that's not to say that Miggy had a bad game, because he absolutely didn't. But Struck handled him really well today, I thought. And there won't be many players who Miggy comes up against in the next 6, 7, 8 games who will perform as well as what Struck did today. I thought he was outstanding for Leeds. But yeah, Miggy, as usual, gets you further up the pitch, constantly running, constantly harrying, which is great. I felt a bit sorry for him today, actually, because like's been said, when Miggy came off the pitch, it kind of felt like we were waving the white flag, as in okay, we've got a point, and that's it. Maybe save him for Arsenal, and don't want to get him injured or anything like that. So yeah, disappointing, but yeah, I thought Miggy played well today. So yeah, I think he deserves an 8.
Oh, that's fair enough. What I was going to say is similar to Bruno. I think Miggy and Bruno they've set a bar now so high for themselves. When we don't get a victory, or they don't play out of their skin, let's say. For me, I'm going to drop the rating a bit. But so that's me. On to J7, Joe Linton. I thought Joe Linton had a solid game, had a nice few runs. For me, I'm giving Joe Linton my man of the match, actually, and I'm giving him an 8.
Joe Linton was good today. Again, good. A little bit like Joe Willock in the first half. Drove forward, trying to commit players. I would have loved him to have mixed it up, though. In the first half, he had about 4 or 5 opportunities where he was one-on-one with their right back. And every time he cut onto his left foot, he just needs to mix up his game a little bit. Like we said about Maxi last season, he needs to make sure that he's just mixing up his game and making the defender think. I think if he'd have cut in on to his right a couple of times, he would have completely fooled the right back, and he would have probably had a little bit more joy. But he's big, physical, puts himself about. He needs to watch himself with his discipline. Teams are starting to pick up on it. He's had it. We love it because he gets onto players and he pushes them and he's physical and he's all the rest of it. You saw today when he did it, their player, Roca, I think it was, went straight to ground holding his face. Players and teams are going to try and get him sent off because they know he's easily wound up in situations. We have to be mindful of that. I'm sure Eddie Howe is having that conversation. I'm sure that Trippier and Lascelles are having that conversation as captains of the club. But he needs to be careful because when he does that, not only does it put the team at risk because he's overly physical, he's a big physical, strong guy, but ultimately teams are going to play on it. And on top of that, it throws his head, so it takes him out of his game. So for 10 minutes after he did that, his mind was gone. Like he wasn't in the game properly, and he needs to control that. So for me, I put Joe Linton. I think I gave him an 8.
Christopher.
Sorry, I just keep doing that, don't I? Apologies. I would put Joe Linton on par with Joe Willock, so I'd give him a 7.5. I thought he was good. What's great about Joe Linton as well is the fact that he gets put left wing, then he gets put centre mid, and he still performs to a really high level, doesn't he? So you
Yeah.
know, you've got to love him for that, and he's just everywhere, and he's big, he's bounces off people, he's exactly what we need exactly what we need in the middle. He's exactly the kind of player that we need, and he's very much part of our plans going forward, isn't he? I see our midfield as Joe Linton, Bruno, and another. That's going forward. If we have that, if we had a Tielemans, a Maddison, a Kone, whoever you want to say, into that midfield three, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, I thought Big Joe had a good game today. So yeah, 7.5 for me.
7.5. Right, let's do it. Last player, Woody. Here he is. Jordan Cronin's best mate, and Jordan Cronin gave him a 5 today. But for me, I tried to take the positives from Chris Wood. There was a few passes, a few knockdowns at one point. There was the chance I mentioned on the 5-minute mark where he could have either crossed it or connected, but it was just got away from him. There was the chance where he's too slow, and there was a chance where he's right in front of the goal as well. For me, it's no good just being good at penalties. If it's just about penalties, 25% of the chat could be Premier League footballers. So I'm giving him a 6.75 for Chris Wood.
Yeah,
7.5.
6.75.
Oh, 6.75. Right, okay.
No. Are you mad?
I thought I was hearing things like that. Sorry.
Well, firstly, I just got to say a massive thanks to Michael.
Wow.
Happy New Year to you. £50
Michael.
donation. Thank you,
Michael.
To you and to everyone that's donated to the channel. We really appreciate it. But Michael, thank you for that very generous donation. Really, really appreciate it, mate. And Happy New Year to you from us all. But yeah, for me, I'll put Wood alongside Longstaff as a 6. I thought he was poor. I was so frustrated. Look, it happens. But early on in the game, he chests it back, it past Millier. And you've got Joe Linton that's free in the box. All he needs to do is just cross it in, no goalkeeper, tap in, 1-0. The game changes. And he just hesitates. He just tries to just kind of flick a foot at it. He had time to steady himself, to kind of take another step and then put the ball in. There was no one around Joe Linton. There was someone coming behind him. But if the ball's right, he's literally got a tap in. It's so frustrating. But then other than that, everything that we talked about at Leicester, the hold-up play, big and physical, dominating, headers down into players' feet and into their chest, anonymous. None of that was there. And look, we both talked, Chris, about Chris Wood before the game, and we said, we thought he would start, and if he did, he kind of earned his spot because he had a good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got to be honest, I couldn't wait for Callum Wilson to get on the pitch. I was counting it down. I was actually disappointed he came on as late as he did. I was expecting it to be possibly at half time to make that change. And maybe that's down to a lack of training and fitness for Wilson, why he didn't come on earlier. But yeah, he's our third choice striker. So what do we expect from a third choice striker? Look, he won't be getting on the pitch. Isak's nearly fit. Isak will be playing alongside, if not in front of or behind Wilson in the pecking order. So as a fan base, and for those that really don't like Chris Wood, and there's a few in the chat tonight, I don't think we'll be seeing him regularly coming on the pitch. But let's see.
Good point you made there, Pete. And I was thinking the same when in that second half. I was hoping Eddie would change it up at halftime, but there was those two chances that Wood had right towards the start of the first 10 minutes of the second half. That if Wilson was there, it was a goal. It's just a pity he wasn't on sooner. Chris, your thoughts on Mr. Chris Wood?
Yeah, he fully deserved. He fully deserved to start today, in my opinion. But sadly, he didn't back that up. I've put him on par with Sean Longstaff as the worst ranked player. So yeah, I'd give him a 6 out of 10. Things just didn't work for him this evening, and I don't know. Unfortunately, for all the Chris Wood haters, yeah, I can, tonight kind of justified that. Like I saw it. If we had an Alexander Isak, if we had a Callum Wilson up top, particularly by the sounds of it, I can't comment because obviously I didn't see it myself. But after Daz describing it and then Pete, I think Callum Wilson, by the sounds of it, would have showed the composure. And sadly, I think Chris Wood lacks that sometimes. Maybe it's a confidence thing, maybe it's an ability thing. I don't know. But yeah, one again, coming out with these positives, I think we see Callum Wilson start against Arsenal. I don't think he's going to start Chris Wood after that.
I think I'll turn it off if Chris Wood is starting against Arsenal. No, I won't. I won't. But no, he can't start against Arsenal. Right, that is it with our ratings. We'll go to our the league table first, but just a reminder to hit that like button if you weren't on earlier, or if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. There we go. Love it. I can't find that, that I put that on about 2 years ago. I cannot find it now, but to put it on the other tabs. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think we got 3 new subscribers since we've been on, lads. So we're now down to 73 subscribers left to reach 5K.
Close.
We're getting there.
Keep going. Come on.
There's a few hours left till 12 o'clock till midnight. Hit that button. Right. So that is the rating. So let's go with the league table. Boom. There we are. Sitting in the top. This is the positive. Sitting in the top 3 of the Premier League, the best league in the world. There we are, little old Newcastle. Among the big 6, some of them. And 17 games played, 34 points. Now, I don't like the look of Man United there with the game in hand and just 2 points behind us, but there's plenty to go there, because I always wanted us to finish ahead of Man United, and I said at the start of the season, it's been a good season if we finish ahead of them. So hopefully we can. But thoughts, lads, on the Premier League table? Pete?
Well, it's not bad, is it? Let's be honest. we cannot complain. 34 points after 17 games. It's. I think it's beyond any of our sort of wildest dreams of what we thought at the beginning of the season. So we cannot be anything other than happy with that. And look, any good team, and we are a good team. We're a class team. Any good team and a class team will look at today's performance and ensure that we grow and build from that. And I always look around the 60 to 65 point mark. If we can get to that by the end of this season, we'll be playing European football. So that's the target for me. And we're over halfway there. So for me, I think we just need to keep working. We need to keep rolling. The one thing I'm going to add to that, and I'm just going to take this comment off, is I was looking at that table today. I don't know if you can go any higher with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is. More lower.
Yeah, just to get the full top 10 in.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so we've got Arsenal next away at the Emirates. Okay, so if you look at that top 10, we've been to Brighton, we've been to Liverpool, we've been to Tottenham, we've been to Man United, we're going to Arsenal. The vast majority of that top half of the table, we've already been to their ground. They've got to come to us. For me, that's a massive positive going into the second half of this season. So we can have those teams at St. James's. And let's face it, they're not going to be doing the Leeds. Those teams that I've just mentioned are going to be coming to Newcastle looking to win, just like Chelsea did. And that's the perfect game for us, because when we've got a team coming at us like Man City did, we can go back at them. And I'm always confident at St. James's Park that when you've got an open game like that we can beat any team that comes to St. James's Park, just like we gave Man City a game, just like we turned over Chelsea earlier on in the season. So for me, there is lots to be positive there with regards to that. And yeah, it's still a massive positive. We've got to go to Brentford, but we turned them over 4-1. Who's to say that? I mean, Ivan Toney, bless him, it looks like he's done his knee. So even with a ban, he could have maybe done his cruciate knee ligaments and be out for the next year. The way it's looking, because he landed awkwardly against West Ham at the end of the game. So, are Brentford going to be the same team when we go to them?
Yeah.
Who knows? So it's an interesting one, a really, really interesting one. I was looking at that the other day and I thought, after that Arsenal game, it's looking quite nice with the teams that we've still got to play.
We've got to play West Ham twice.
Yeah, home and away. We play them beginning of Feb, I think, at St. James's. And then we've got the rearranged fixture whenever that comes in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all still to play for, without a doubt.
And a silver lining as well with Southampton. We'll be all together at that game. So interesting.
Yeah, we will. We will.
You know what's interesting about that? That's what, the end of April.
Yeah.
End of April. And I know the league goes on a little bit longer, but that game against Southampton, the way they're going, that could be a game that we relegate them. But equally, that could be a game that really defines where we're going in this season. End of April, coming towards the end of the season. Are we solidifying our Champions League spot? Are we still in the race? Are we solidifying or guaranteeing European football by that stage? It could be a real good feel-good factor, that Southampton at home game. So, boys, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, because after that game, we have Arsenal, Leeds. So Arsenal at home, Leeds away, Leicester at home, Chelsea away, and we don't know when that West Ham game is going to be rescheduled. So that could be before that Southampton game. So 1, 2, 3, 4 games left after that Southampton game. Let's say, assuming that West Ham game gets rescheduled earlier than the end of April.
Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
Chris, any more thoughts on the table? Top or bottom?
It's just great, isn't it? Sitting third. If you told me New Year's Eve would be sitting third, you'd take that all day, wouldn't you? Obviously, City dropping 2 points at home to Everton today. Takes the pressure off us a little bit. Obviously, Arsenal have pulled away, but we can always try and pull that back, can't we? In a few days' time, I think. And like I've said at the start, I'm disappointed that we didn't pick up the 3 points today, but plenty of positives for me, not just today, but just throughout the season. 17 games, 34 points. We're averaging 2 points a game. If we carry on in that vein, we're going to end the season on 76 points. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And wouldn't that qualify us for top 4? Do you think? I think it should, shouldn't it? 76. It should be more than enough.
I would say that gets us top 4. You've had teams in years gone by that have won leagues with 76 points. I don't think it's not going to be enough this season, but that should secure us top 4. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. So if we carry on in that vein, and Dad said we've got some nice fixtures towards the end. I mean, let's just have a quick look now while I'm on the website. Where are we? So obviously we've got Arsenal away next. Fulham at home, looking good. Palace away. West Ham at home. We get something from that. We get something from that Arsenal game. Bournemouth away. Got a fantastic run, lads. Liverpool at home. We'll be wanting to give them one back. That's for sure.
Oh, that's a massive game.
Brighton at home.
For more than top 4 reasons. Those players are going to want to do over Liverpool.
Honestly, I didn't realise that. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record here. I'm just going to repeat that. You've got, after Arsenal away, Fulham at home, Palace away, West Ham at home, Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, Brighton at home, and then City away. So potentially we've got a really difficult fixture. Our next really difficult fixture after a couple of days' time is City away on the 4th of March. So between now and the 4th of March, we've got one particularly difficult game. The other games, I think we go into them as favourites. I do.
Yeah.
And you know the other good thing, well for me it's a good thing anyway, is that all of our next run of games are all on some class of TV. Like we have, I'm going to throw in the cup games we have the Sheffield Wednesday one on BBC at 6 o'clock. We have the Leicester City League Cup quarter final on Sky on Tuesday the 10th at 8 o'clock. Then we have Fulham on Sky, Palace on Sky, West Ham on Sky, Bournemouth on Sky, Liverpool on Sky, and Brighton on BT. So up until the end of February, all our next games are on TV.
Yeah. But that's what comes with being a class team at the top of the league. Everyone wants a piece of Newcastle United right now, which is great. But let's not forget, and one or two people in the chat, so Tom Dixon, welcome Tom, glad to see you in the chat. Man City on Thursday play Chelsea next week. So Man City, it's not guaranteed that they're gonna pick up a win in that one. Man U's games, Arsenal's next 3 games are us, Man United, and Spurs. So their games ain't getting any easier. Against us is probably in their mind their easiest game, but that can also play into our hands because we can make that very difficult for them. That's the perfect game for us, that Arsenal game, and I'm sure we'll get into it in the away days and beyond. But for me, I just think, although we're looking around our fixtures, like you just said, Chris, you made a great point. Some of our fixtures are actually pretty good. But actually, a lot of teams around us have got difficult fixtures. Why? Because actually, we've played a lot of those top teams already this season, and they haven't. And they're having to do that now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so more positive, lads. If you needed some positivity, just watch this show. So there you go. That is our league table look at as well. Maybe we should go to some questions or comments in the chat that might spark conversation. Where do we go first?
Yana just put all our games on TV, that's just not in the UK.
Good point. Yeah, but I hate watching things on stream. It drives me mad because you're watching it and it stops there. Or for me, it just like Trippy's about to take a free kick. Pause, and you go, "What happened?" And you just, or do you have to jump to another stream to try and watch it? It just drives me mad. But yep, good point, Jano.
Depending on when we can, depending on if we can fit it in, we're not really a channel that does it, but we should maybe like highlight one game and maybe do a watch along.
Could do,
because it's on TV, everyone's watching at the same time. We don't have to do it every week. We're not really a channel that does it, but it might be good to do one with some of those games on TV coming up.
Back to the old days.
like the old days. Not like the old days. Yeah. Some good comments here. I'll start with, we've already talked about it briefly, but Craig Lee's made the point, was it a pen or am I biased? He's put, I feel robbed with regards to Shaw's pen. Are we all convinced that it was a penalty? Just to wrap that one up.
I think so, but we are biased.
Of course we are.
I thought, like I say, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was a pen. I was like, get up. It's not a pen. And then when I watched it back, I was like, oh God, it was a pen. But the fact that he didn't even look at it. I mean, even if VAR looked at it and went, nah, coming together, whatever. But it was just about they just dismissed it. As in like, oh, no clear and obvious there. We'll just crack on.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Was definitely. Interesting one here. I think this came up earlier on in the show from Yano. Thought Eddie was poor today. I would have taken Wood off after 10 minutes. Some criticism.
That'd be harsh.
Not negativity, but for Eddie Howe. But yeah, questioning, should we say, Eddie Howe's judgment on Wood. What do we think of that, boys?
I'd go with, definitely not taking Wood off after 10 minutes, but I would have taken Wood off at halftime. And it was just to bring Wilson on because but look, he knows his squad better than we do, and what level Wilson is at, can he last, and game management as well with the games coming up. But I would have brought him on earlier for sure on halftime. But I still trust Eddie Howe 110%.
Yeah, my only criticism, if you can call it a criticism, difference of opinion maybe. Pete gave a good explanation about it earlier. I would have kept Willock on the pitch. I think I felt like Willock was having a decent enough game, and I think Longstaff was just having one of those games that you kind of want to forget. And I thought if he kept Willock on the pitch, he was driving forwards, carrying the ball really well. I personally, I would have kept Willock on the pitch, but that's the only thing. I thought he brought Maxi and Wilson on. I'm saying at the right time. He gave them half an hour. It wasn't like he brought them on with 10 minutes to go, and I'd have been going, "Oh, what?" It was a good half an hour, wasn't it? And I can't really knock him. Some may say, well, Yano says after 10 minutes. Some may say he should have made the change at half time. Who knows? But at least he made the right subs. Bar Jacob Murphy.
But so instead of Jacob Murphy, they're looking at the bench, Chris. Throw it back at you. You are Eddie Howe. Who are you bringing on there instead of Murphy? You have Wilson and ASM on the pitch at the stage. You're not going to bring on Darlow. You're not going to bring on Lascelles. You're not going to bring on Richie or Lewis. If we get rid of the comment, who else?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So it's Anderson or Murphy, really.
I prefer Anderson. If I'm being honest, because I feel like I've seen enough of Murphy. And I'll be honest, and again, tell me if I'm being harsh. If a big chance came to Murphy, would I be confident he put it away? Probably not.
No. He got close, but he's just no luck.
He did the post.
Zero luck. Yeah, he did the post.
He did the post. Yeah. But it goes back to what we were saying, wasn't it, earlier in the show? We know we need upgrades in the squad. We know we need a stronger squad. So I can't really blame Hal for that, because he can only pick what's on the bench, can't he? He can only pick what's at his disposal. But for me, bringing Jacob Murphy on all the time, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on Murphy. I don't know, but it's just, I see the sub and I'm just thinking, oh, not again, because you just know nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
I hope you
score against Arsenal now at the Emirates.
Yeah.
We'll be rated a 10.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, he's absolutely superb. Great sub from Hal.
I hope you get the abuse, Chris, that I get for slating Chris Wood. That's all I say. Next one.
Next one.
Pete, sorry, can I just jump in a sec there? Love this. Mick T. I'm a Leeds fan. Made up Eddie Howe, proving man management is key rather than financially. Jesse getting us relegated for his Yank 49ers friends to buy us on the cheap. Eddie doing wonders. You know what, Mick? Thank you for that, Mick. Because
good one.
Eddie Howe's doing it. It's Eddie Howe's man management skills. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Newcastle will throw money at it." We're not. We're absolutely not. I'm not to say we won't, but we're not at the minute. It's all down to Eddie Howe. So
Mick,
sorry for jumping.
Pick a sub. Come and join us more regular for some footy chat, mate. Top stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolute top stuff. Great comment there for sure. Ian McKenna said, any news on Isaac yet? We still have a 60 million new signing to come in yet. We touched on it during the show. I don't know if you boys, did you hear the press conference with Eddie Howe?
I heard a bit of snip of it.
I haven't watched it, but I watched because I didn't have 31 minutes, and I thought, I'll watch Craig Hope. Craig Hope likes to do a summary of the Eddie Howe press conference, so I watched the Craig Hope one, and by the sounds of it, he's going to be back in January, is he not? I doubt it'll be Arsenal, if I'm honest, but hey, Eddie loves to spring a surprise. Who knows?
He said he's very close to full training. He'll be back anytime soon, so. I don't think he'll be back for Arsenal. In my mind, I always had the Sheffield Wednesday game that he would possibly be back for. Maybe even the quarterfinals, the Leicester game. Maybe back for after a run of full training with the players. It looks like he's going to be back. But Eddie seems like he's hopeful that he's going to play a big part in January. So. Happy days from that point of view. Let me go to some others. More of an opinion than anything else. Trippier for Prime Minister's put, we are getting absolutely creamed at the Emirates. Do you agree with that, boys?
No, best defence in the league.
That's true. Arsenal conceded the 2 today.
And Botman's never lost while he's played with us. So make sure Botman plays. First name of the team sheet.
Botman doesn't lose.
Full stop.
He doesn't
So
lose a game.
No.
No, interesting one, but yeah, a good one, that's for sure.
no, Arsenal are going to be some challenge. Look, and Arsenal will be favourites. So like today, we were favourites, and we all thought they were going to win. So it's back to our old mantra of not expecting much. Hopefully, we get Eddie delivers. Eddie and the team delivers.
Definitely. Another Leeds fan, Tony Stellafella. Great to have you on the show. We stole a point. You should bring Crime Stoppers. We were awful, but I'll take it. Fair play.
Congratulations.
Yeah, fair play. Nice and honest. We'll like that. Nice and honest. Yeah, we in my opinion, we did enough to get more than 3 points. So we could have had 6 points. The amount of chances we created, but you took a point. Fair play. But yeah, respect for that one. Right. Some of the other ones are. Hold on. Let me go to Ian Barron's one here. But silly question: are Newcastle United overachieving at the moment?
I'll go first. I think they are. They are because look, if you took at the start of the season, I think if we all recall what we said, what I said, 8th or higher, I'd be happy with. And look, we're sitting in 3rd position at the moment, with nearly half the season gone, and we're definitely overachieving. And the project is long term. It's not a quick fix to try and win the league in 2 years. It's to break on through into the Champions League, and I think that they probably had allowed another couple of years to do that. So if we get into the Champions League, or even show that we were nearly got there, it's been a absolutely brilliant season for us. So we are overachieving at the moment.
Chris, what do you think?
Are we overachieving? Yes. Do we deserve it? Yes. Like we're not there by accident. I mean, look at for example, do you know what? My memory's terrible. The season where we looked like we were going down and Bruce kept us up, and we finished like was it 11th or 13th? It was one or the other. Like we didn't deserve that. There's no way we deserve to finish. I'm sure it was 11th because the results went our way and everyone was going, see,
the last day, yeah.
Steve Bruce is doing a great job, and it's like, no, hang on a minute, he's really not. Like, we didn't deserve to finish 11th. I think we finished above Palace, and at the time Palace were playing great football, and like, you know, there was no way we deserved that. But we're 3rd in the league, and we absolutely deserve to be 3rd in the league. But I think at the start of the season, if you'd have said to anybody, oh, you'll be well, we'll be 2nd at Christmas, or we'll be top 3 at Christmas, we'll be 3rd at Christmas.
We were top 3 at Christmas this year.
Yeah, and now we're top 3 in New Year. Yeah. So and we deserve to be there. The fact that it's crazy to think we've got the best defense in the league. It's crazy to think we're unbeaten in 12. It's crazy to think that St James's Park's now a fortress again. Nobody wants to come to St James's Park. I heard someone say the other day, it might have been Joe actually last night, who said the second worst place to go to at the moment after the Etihad is St James's Park. Nobody wants to go to St James's Park. Is that overachieving? Yeah, absolutely it is.
Nobody wants to go to St James's Park, yet everybody wants to go to St James's Park.
We all want to go
there
to St James's Park. We all want to go, but no opposing fans want to go. No, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. They always dread the thought of going to the stadium. Some statements here. Some opinions. Yana's put 6 points from safety. You're absolutely right. We're 17 games gone. That is for sure. Right. There's like a 3 or 4 part from Saint here. He's put in midfield, Longstaff and Willett, they're trying their best. I respect them, but if we are targeting to win the league one day, we cannot with them. They are good, but not good enough to win the league. He's then got on to say, anyway, back to transfers. Today shows us one more time that we need an alternative winger and also a creative midfielder. And then he's gone on, and then Gerald Flanagan has added to that, lads, who are your top 3 transfers for January? So there's like a 2 or 3 part question to that. But going back to transfers, do you agree with what Senk's saying about our need for a winger and a creative midfielder for the transfer window?
I think we need a midfielder, whether it be creative one or not, because we talked about a number of number sixes, or you guys talked about a lot of number sixes on the show here with Graham Bailey on the other day. Here it is here. If you haven't seen that, watch that back, because you do go in depth around the number sixes there been linked to us or been mentioned by. I think I'd like to see Moise Caicedo, but I don't think we're going to get him. I'd love to see Tielemans, and who's one of the first person I mentioned to Ben Jacobs on the day before the takeover went through. But at that time he wasn't playing. At that time he was playing brilliantly. He hasn't been playing to the best of his ability lately, but I think Eddie Howe can get much more out of him, back to that level and then some with Tielemans. So someone in there as a number 6. Alternatively, the one we talked about before, and I think we in the previous fully loaded transfer show, I mentioned the Morocco number 8, Kunai. Yeah, that guy, I can never pronounce his name. But I know Leicester are linked to him, so I've mentioned before as well. That's 2. I've mentioned KK, but from Napoli, number 77, the Georgian left winger. But we're not going to get him in January, so you can cross him off this summer. If we're in the Champions League, we still probably won't get him, but he's someone I'd love us to try and get. I had mentioned before as well, but he's again in the bracket of a kind of a midfielder. But he looks like he's going to Chelsea, Andres Santos, and then the other Max Perrone, Man City look like they're trying to get him off us now as well. All these names that we're linked. I'm hoping for a few surprises actually. So I'll say, to answer the question, I'll go Tielemans. I don't think we're going to get Moise Caicedo. I'll go a surprise. 2 surprises then from Dan Ashworth, because we're talking about players that linked to the media and stuff like that, but Dan Ashworth and Steve Nixon have some surprises up their sleeve. I know well they do. Names that we haven't even discussed yet, and they'll come to the fore in January, I think.
Yeah, Chris, who are your 3 that you're targeting, and do you think we need a creative winger in the midfielder?
Yeah, I think we desperately need a creative midfielder and a winger. The winger, not necessarily to go in the 11 just to replace Jacob Murphy on the bench. I'd love to have a new winger, if I'm honest. It would be nice to have that option. Oh, actually, Daz, sorry, can you pull that 11 back up again?
11? Yeah, our 11.
Yeah, from today,
Yeah.
the lineup.
Yeah.
So no Fraser in the squad either.
No. Yeah. There was talk. He's been linked to Southampton and a few more. Was it Brentford or something like that?
Yeah.
Apparently wanted to go to Southampton when they came in, and Eddie Howe stopped it in the summer.
Now look where they are now. Is it a good move?
I don't think he want to go now, but saying that he probably wants to go back to South Coast.
Yeah,
so, maybe.
He's Scottish though. Somebody he did live down Bournemouth.
Yeah. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like if we came away in this January transfer window with a new central midfielder, whether that be a 6 or an 8. If we bring in an 8, I'm assuming Bruno will drop to the 6. If we bring in a 6, I'm assuming Bruno will then move forward to the 8. Either or for me. If we could get both, great. But equally, I admit that's probably unlikely in this window. But I think a central midfielder is key. A winger to come in and push Maxi, push Almiron, and as I say, just improve that bench a little bit. They would be the two key positions for me. I've also mentioned that I'd like, an understudy striker, someone who's just a bit off the cuff, a youngster, who's got no fear, who come on, learn his trade, and then in a couple of years, be pushing for that starting place. Although Alexander Isak coming back, that's going to be huge for us. And yeah, the understudy right back for Kieran Trippier, which looks like it's going to be Harrison Ashby. I don't know that, by the way. Just basing it purely off what people have been saying. But yeah, me top 3, if you're going to push me for names, would be I would prefer Maddison over Tielemans, but I'm not saying no to Tielemans. I would like Maddison. And I suppose the advantage of Maddison is you could play him in the middle, or you could play him possibly in replacement for Miggy if Miggy was injured or suspended or whatever, or Miggy fell out of form. Maddison could go the right wing as well. The number 6 option would be, I don't know, maybe look back at Alvarez from Ajax. I'm not sure. Kone's been mentioned. The young Thuram lad. Number of options could even be someone off the cuff. Casado would be great, but I just doubt that we'd get him over the likes of Liverpool, who apparently are really interested in him. Wing position, I'd love Diaby. I would love Diaby. I think Diaby would be great. Marcus Thuram, another option. And yeah, Harrison Ashby as the right back. That would be my choice. By the way, can I just say, anyone, I don't know if you boys have been keeping an eye on the chat, but I'm loving it, by the way. It's all tongue in cheek. I am loving it. But Arsenal for Life has joined the chat. He's going in. He's going in. Arsenal for Life. If you're still watching, mate, I want to see you on the away days, which is coming up. It's going to be a cracking away days, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Pete's lined that up. It's going to be a belter away day, mate. So you should come and join in. And also, I want you on that reaction show. Because Arsenal for Life said, "Oh, we don't mind coming to St James's," and I said, "Well, can you remember what happened last time you came to St James's?" Because I don't know if you remember Arsenal for Life, but it was a pretty good game, mate. I'm also looking forward to you coming to St James's later on in the season. But no, thanks for tuning in, mate. In all seriousness, thanks for tuning in. It's always good to get the opposition opinion and have a bit of banter than that. So, top man.
Before we go to Pete and to talk more about James Maddison, we'll go to. I just want to say, yeah, I agree with John at the right back. We do need an understudy, and probably be Harrison Ashby, probably leading the left back as well. But also one I'd mentioned before, and João Pedro, he got injured there about a week ago as well, so he's going to be missing for a few weeks, I think. So it'll probably rule him out of contention in January. And I think we'll have moved on probably then by that stage. But Pete, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty straightforward for me. I think obviously Maddison would be the one that I want more than anyone. I think he would give us so much in this team. Tielemans, I would like, but I think we only get one or the other in January. I can't remember who I spoke to about this. It might be Newcastle. I don't know. I think if we get Maddison now, we don't get Tielemans in the summer. But if we get Tielemans now, we get Maddison in the summer. So there's an opportunity to get both.
See, that's it was me you were talking about it, Pete. It's mad that, because for me, I'd love both of them, but I cannot see us signing Tielemans and Maddison. Like, regardless of whether it's January, summer, whatever, I think it's one or the other. I genuinely do. I mean, if we got both, don't get me wrong, I'd love both. But where would you, if we signed Tielemans, Pete, where would you? Because I'm assuming you can't play Tielemans and Maddison in the same 11. I'm assuming, because that would mean Miggy coming out. It would mean change of formation. But how would you see that, Pete? I'm just asking, by the way.
They're playing the same team for Leicester, and their formation is set up.
But when you say playing the same team for Leicester Leicester haven't got Bruno or J7 or
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I get that. I mean, for me, Maddison, and I said this in the summer, Maddison can play as a number 8. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He can play as a number 8. And you need options. If we're playing European football next season, we need options. We're not just going to be playing League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. You've got to throw in a European competition on top of that to fit everything.
Super League.
So, maybe even Super League, who knows? But for me, you need players. You need a big pool of quality players. You look at the likes of Liverpool now. They've got like 6 forward 3. You look at Liverpool's team. Look at Man City. They've got Foden wasn't even playing today. It's one of those things that you need quality players all over the pitch, and you want competition. Who's to say, and I hope it's not the case, but who's to say that Miggy goes back to the Miggy that we knew before next season and he doesn't have the same season? Then what do you do? Because you're not getting the goals and the effect that he's having this season. But if you bring Maddison in there, Maddison's going to keep Miggy on his toes. So Miggy's going to have to perform at his best if he's going to stay in the team. Because Maddison can play on that right-hand side. He's done it for Leicester. But equally, Leicester play at times with two holding midfielders, or two central midfielders, normally Boubacar Samare and Tielemans, and then they play Maddison further forward, almost like a number 10. And they played him in that position too. But Maddison, when he first signed for Leicester, was playing off the left. So he can play in any position. And that's what I think Eddie Howe's looking at. He's looking at not just quality players, but quality players that are versatile. You go to Tielemans. Tielemans can play at times, even against us. He played as the number 6. He was that sitter. But then there's times where he moves forward. We talk about that transition between Longstaff and Bruno. If Tielemans and Bruno can get that transition, you've got a better midfield pairing there already, because Tielemans is a similar age to Longstaff, but is a lot more highly skilled than him. You know, he scored some bangers this season. The goal against Everton on the volley, unbelievable. Like but he's a range of passing. He's a good player. Under Eddie Howe, he'll get better. I think that they can both play in the team. Yeah, it's going to be a massive headache for Eddie Howe in terms of picking those players. That's what he's paid for.
But a good one. A good headache.
And for me, I want all those players to choose from. I don't want to see, like you made a great point earlier, Chris. You're sick of seeing someone like Jacob Murphy coming onto the pitch as a sub. How about you bring James Maddison on today, or a Yuri Tielemans coming on today off the bench? That is what you want at Newcastle United. You don't want, with all due respect to him, he's got a Geordie family, ultimate respect for the club and for the city, but you don't want Jacob Murphy coming off the bench. You don't want Ryan Fraser coming off the bench. You don't want those players coming off the bench. You want quality players that are going to affect the game in a massive way. And you know, I keep talking about Tielemans and Maddison is because we've already put 2 bids in for Maddison, and Tielemans is a deal that can be done in January. The only thing is, there was a great discussion with the Geordies down south boys, and they were saying, "I can't see it happening." And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Whether the Tielemans deal can get done, we can afford Tielemans. If we can afford to pay Wood 100 grand a week, we can afford to pay Tielemans 150. It's been rumored that Bruno's new contract is going to be around 200. So we're already expanding the wage budget there. So if he wants 150, give it to him. He's 25 years old. He's got 7-8 years left in the game. 150 is going to be nothing in a few years' time for Newcastle United. Pay the money and get him in. You are not going to get a better midfielder for 20 million right now. There is no way.
I agree.
A better centre midfielder than Yuri Tielemans right now for 20 million. Leicester paid the best part of 40 for him from Monaco. But going on to other players, Marcus Thuram, again, a perfect deal, a perfect age. He can play off the left. He can play up front. 13 goal contributions this season. We said it on the transfer show. It's a must.
I forget who said it, Pete. Somebody, I forget who it was, so apologies if it's not starred. I don't think it is. Somebody said before that a 4.4 million bid has been submitted for Marcus Thuram.
By who? Us?
I can't remember who it was. It wasn't us. But I've seen it and thought, wow. But it goes back to what's been previously said, you know, about the Bundesliga and there not being much money in the Bundesliga. I think it was when we had the chat with Graham Bailey, wasn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, they can't afford to just let him go on a free. So the fact that someone's come in already with a cheeky 4.4 million bid, what does 8, 9, 10 million get that deal done? Yeah. And, like, that's buttons, isn't it?
I think there's a couple.
Oh, Inter Milan. Everyone's saying Inter Milan.
Inter Milan, absolutely. And Graham Bailey said that's the other team that we're fighting with. Now, Graham Bailey mentioned on our show, he said, I think they would take around 10 million for him. 10 million for Marcus Thuram, 13 goal contributions. You are having a laugh. There are deals to be done in January. The thing is, go back to Tielemans, it's whether he wants the deal. Does he want to come to Newcastle now and be a part of something moving forward and take the 100 grand a week and a nice signing on bonus? Or is he a guy that wants to wait until his contract's out and get a big fat signing on fee and kind of play the field a little bit? What type of guy is he?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll throw it out to you as well. It might not be beyond us that Leicester turn around to him and say, you know what, we want some money for you. We'd like some money for you we appreciate your contributions, but we like some money for you. Yeah, can you move on?
How much did Leicester buy him for, Pete? It was a fair whack, wasn't it?
I think it was close to like 40
Monaco.
million.
Yeah.
It was close to 40 million that they paid for him. So if we're getting in for half of that, like we're absolutely laughing. But again, Marcus Thuram, if you can get it for 10 million, no brainer. The other one out of that can be anybody. It could be a loan from a big team taking out a fringe player. It could be a Diaby potentially. It could be somebody else. I'm not saying we're going to get all these three players, but they're just players that I'd like. It could be anyone off that list that we've already discussed.
Cool. Yeah, I saw there during it was just shooting the breeze now. But Mudryk, Arsenal went in for Mudryk, and the bid wasn't accepted. I imagine they'll go back in again. But do you think that we'll get involved in there at all? I don't think so. But
I don't think so personally. I think it's a done deal that he's going to Arsenal. I think he put on his Instagram story the other day. He was watching the Arsenal game and he put a little picture on of the Arsenal game being on and put it out there. So I think he's already talked about being a big fan of Arsenal. I think that for me, that's a deal that will probably get done in January to them. He's beyond us, I think.
To answer your question, Chris, Monaco Tielemans, 32 million. I think he came initially on a loan.
Yeah.
He wasn't on a free from Germany. That's all I'd say. And if you haven't seen that show, go back and watch that quiz. Some
What a plug!
Great bit of crack on that show. We should do it again. We'll do it again sometime.
Maybe next Christmas.
Maybe tomorrow. No.
Yeah,
why not? Next time. I ain't drinking next time. Jesus Christ.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'll just go through one or two others. Just comments really rather than questions. Trull said, I think if ASM and Wilson played at the start, the outcome would have been different. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think
that's fair.
I think we'd all agree with that. Emmett, welcome Emmett, is put on there. It feels like a defeat as we now go into every game expecting to win, and that just shows the progression of the team.
Exactly.
No issues with that. You are absolutely right. I think it's a really, really good point that I wanted to put out there as well. He's put on there, we'll put it to all of us from Rat. To get top four, we need top winger, top CDM, and a new left back, maybe a young striker, or can. It might be a CAM midfielder.
CAM, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? We didn't really touch on the left back situation, did we? I know we were speaking earlier about Dan Burn and stuff, but going forward, does Eddie Howe look at that and think, that's a weakness? We've seen it very much as a strength over the past 17 games that Dan Burn has slotted in at left back, been seamless, been great. But that attacking threat isn't there, is it? If we were linked, weren't we, with Phil and Mendy from Real Madrid? That'd be some sign if we could pull that off.
Yeah, come from a respected source as well. I spoke to Lee about that when I saw the link. But it's whether he wants to move. Is he happy with Real Madrid being that squad player and playing here and there, but being with a team that's likely to challenge for trophies every year, or does he want to come and play regular football? It's an interesting one. Definitely.
Pete, I just wanted to add a point in, by the way, from what you were saying earlier about Tielemans, which I completely agree with. With Bruno potentially being offered this $200,000 a week deal, I think it isn't it great that if anybody's going to break the wage structure, it's Bruno, because again it prevents players knocking on Eddie Howe's door and going, "Oh, he's getting $200,000 a week. I'm only on $120,000 a week," and then Eddie Howe can turn around and go, "Yeah, but it's Bruno. Like, have you not seen what he's been doing? That's why he's on $200,000 a week. You perform like that, and you'll be on $200,000 a week. Whereas if you bring in a brand new player, that's where it causes the unrest, isn't it? On the big salary.
And you've got to look at it as well. You know, if anything, with all due respect, someone like Kieran Trippier, who's a great leader, his next contract will probably be for less money. His money will go probably below 100 grand a week. Same with Wilson. Wilson, if he signs a new deal with us or not, his next wage will probably be a lower one. So it's one of those. You know, Chris Wood on 100 grand a week. Who would have thought it? His next one is going down. It's going to be a lesser wage. So that opens up more wages to signing better players. And look, you know, you've got Leicester that I think pay more players 100 grand a week than we do. So we're going to pay players more money. Our wage structure is going to build. It has to, as we get better.
Just on Chris Wood, Pete, and his next contract, as well as it being less money, it'll probably be at another club, just to put that in there as well. But if you're looking for another positive, in the next 3.5 hours, the transfer window will open. And happy New Year.
You reckon we're going to sign a player tomorrow?
It's Sunday,
I'm being serious. Have we got one lined up? Why not?
I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, but
Monday. Wait till Monday.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's early in the window that we sign our first. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Someone that no channel has talked about it. No one knows anything about. That's what I hope. Just for the crack. Yeah. So everyone panics.
Everyone scrambles.
Yeah.
The scramble is hard. No, I think that's spot on. But yeah, just the last couple of comments really from our resident spanner. We still have improvements to make for sure, but I remember the feeling the last time or this time last year, when we didn't look forward to games. Now we're in the top 4. We need to keep our expectations in check. I think that's more than fair. Hold on one second.
I put that on for you, Pete.
Cheers, Darren. Cheers, Chris. Thank you for reminding me. Jesus Christ. Lisa Mohammed, let's make the year the year end with a bang. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. So close to 5k. The lads is out for amazing content. Thank you for all your support, Lisa.
Just on that, Pete, a shout out to our mods as well: Lisa, Simon, Yano, Keith, and the rest. They all do a great job promoting the shows, and of course to our sponsors as well. But we'll talk about them in a few minutes. Russ as well for promoting the shows and just engaging with people in the chat. I saw it from the other side the other day when I was in the chat for the last 2 shows, and they put in a massive effort. So shout out to them and Happy New Year as well to our mods.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And yeah, the last one is from Ian. Don't get too drunk tonight, peeps. Who am I kidding? Let's riot. Come on the tune, onwards and upwards. 2023. I thought that was a really great way to end the starred comments there. Spot on.
Nice one. And yes, to answer your question in our private chat, Russ is a spanner. Yeah, maybe we should tell people about what's coming, and I'm going to definitely leave the big one for you, Pete. But just on the shows that have happened the last few days, if you've not seen it yet, as mentioned, catch up on the Fully Loaded Transfer Show with Graham Bailey. We will have another Fully Loaded Transfer Show towards probably Thursday next week. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't caught the away days as well, great chat with you. And it's a shorter one this time, so you might have time to catch up on it. It's a good show as well to catch up on. And we already mentioned the quiz that we had over Christmas. But Pete, what is happening on Monday, the 2nd of January at 7 p.m?
Well, away days is back, and obviously we knew it was going to be a big one because Arsenal, or we're going to Arsenal, we're going to the Emirates, and of course Dan Potts, who anyone that watches the 12th Man, his channel, he's coming to join us again to talk all things Arsenal, Newcastle, and looking forward to it. But he's bringing a friend with him. And yeah, I've been working on this for a few weeks now, and I really appreciate all the work that Dan's done. I'm sure he'll watch this back. Really appreciate all the work that you've done to try and make this happen. But we do have an ex-Arsenal player coming and joining us for a chat. It'll be a short period because I know he's travelling at this moment in time. But we have ex-Arsenal striker Kevin Campbell that's going to come and join us to mark our away day show. So really, really pleased to have Kevin to come and join us for a chat. If anyone's heard him before, clearly he knows his stuff. Really, really respectful about Newcastle. So interesting to get his thoughts as well as Dan's and all Arsenal fans that I'm sure will come and join us on that night to talk all things Arsenal Newcastle. It's going to be a cracker. There's no doubt about it. And I'm really looking forward to the chat and to see what the opinions are going to be. Look, they're going to come in with confidence. There's no doubt about it going into the game, but let's see how the land lies. But yeah, really buzzing to get Kevin Campbell on. Like I say, he's ex-professional Premier League striker, and obviously still very closely affiliated to Arsenal Football Club.
Cool.
That
should be a brilliant show. Looking forward to it.
Vicho 63, if you're watching, mate. Everton legend there. Get yourself on.
Yeah. And Notts Forest legend as well.
Transport legend.
Transport, yeah, back end of his career. That's right.
Anyone he hasn't played for.
Yeah.
And he's in Sky now as well. Of course,
Yes.
as well. But so that is Monday, the 2nd of January at 7:00. Then we have the game itself on the Tuesday. Then we're back for the reaction show on the Wednesday. So keep an eye out for the reaction show on the Wednesday. I think that one is up in the system. The others aren't on yet. And then we'll probably have, as I said, a fully loaded transfer show on the Thursday. And that's it for now. I think. But there'll be more shows coming later in the year now at this stage. That was it. Maybe I should go for the sponsors as well. While we're at it, shout out to shyburns.com, Simon, who's in the chat earlier as well, shyburns.com. I'm rocking my loaded top. You can't see it on the green screen, it's kind of fading in. Hey, my hoodie, and I got my hat as well. And it doesn't melt into the green screen as much, but yeah, got my stuff. Thanks, Simon, for sending that on to me. But and if you want to get any loaded gear, it's available via Simon on shyburns.com, and you will have seen before some of our regulars wearing the kit. You've seen Ray, you've seen Mick, but we've a new member wearing a shirt, it's a t-shirt as well, and I can never pronounce this name. It's
Would I?
What did I eat there? Would I eat this? I don't know. But he's eating here. But
that's right. You're right, guys.
He's in Spain. He's on holidays in Spain or something there. But he's enjoying his breakfast and rocking the loaded T-shirt. So cheers for that. Would I? Also available, as I mentioned, the hoodies and the hats as well as that. I have and the other hats, but also on shyburns.com there's the Simon's range for mental health as well. So check out that. Go to the website for the latest. That's my advice for that one. Also shout out to Pins and Prints and the range that Pins and Prints have available. I'm sure they have new stuff. I haven't seen it recently, but go check out the latest on their site. Also, shout out to Martin Machine House. I think he's going to launch some new T-shirts as well. I think I saw him saying something like that on Twitter. So, but go check out the latest there from Machine House. Also, to the Jordy Rice and Dean and what he has available there. Go check out the latest from Dean. What's the latest? And of course, shout out to Russ on the radiatorshed.com and of the Install Works. And yeah, you'll know by now, as you Chris and GL, that what the radiators that Russ is available. But go check out that website to get all the information from Russ. And if you see him rocking around Newcastle he calls it his van, but it's really the loaded van. The loaded van. It's like the A-Team. It's like our little van. But I want to get a picture of that van when we're over in Newcastle. But that check out the latest on the Radiator Shed. That is it from the sponsors, I think. And that is probably it from anything else you want to say, lads, as we round out off the show, and we round off the year.
I like that.
We are united. We sure are.
Been a great year. been a great year for Newcastle, but also for the channel. It's been a pleasure to share the journey with you boys and of course everyone, all the lads and lasses in the chat. The channel's just going from strength to strength, and it's because of you guys that come and tune in and give your opinion. So massive thanks to everybody from my point of view. And look, we're not stopping here. We're going to keep building and growing in 2023. So come along for the ride.
That's for sure. And what a ride it's been so far. Coming up on 2 years for the channel was created. We wasn't really active for the first bit, but and then we just kicked into gear with Loaded Mag in UFC, and we kind of rebranded ourselves. Hang on. We have to say Happy New Year. Put the headphones on her, Chris.
Love it.
Happy New Year, Summer.
Happy New Year, Summer. Hope you have a good one.
Watching.
Thanks. Thanks for watching.
Brilliant stuff. Quality. Well done.
Thanks, Summer. And Summer always says, subscribe. Yeah, do that. Hit that subscribe and hit that like button as we say goodnight to you. But that is it. We round off the show. We round off the year. We will be back on Monday with a big show that Pete has just described with Kevin Campbell and Dan Potts of the 12th Man podcast. For a way it is, should be a cracker. Don't miss that. That is it.
Yeah, that's it. Review done and dusted.
Review done. Right. Good night, everybody.
Right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all.
Good luck.
How you like?